shot. So if you can have an awareness of what you want to do, a sensation, which you can do through doing a series of drills, I think you're going to find a big difference in how you hit the ball.
Absolutely right, David. There's no doubt about it. You go out with a constructive plan, have a couple of drills that really help you try and achieve what you're trying to get done with your golf swing. You go a long, long way to getting your scores down there in the low 80s or in the 70s.
You know, we had a little job at the David Ledbetter Golf Academy the last few months. We've actually put together how many drills we actually use to help people improve, and we sort of got over about 200 of them. So we're not going to give you all 200 today. We're going to give you about 6 of them, and a couple of them involved using a ball between your knees and pushing a little board away. Some things that will really help you to get the right feel. So hopefully you work on these little drills and you'll get your swing in good shape and you'll start playing some super golf. So should we have a go at it?
I'm absolutely ready, David.
Right, and first thing we're going to talk about is alignment, because a lot of people don't realize how to line up, and we're going to show you a very simple drill to get you perfectly aligned.
Brought to you by Izod.
Well, welcome back, and here we are at Lake Nona, the site of my main academy, Lake Nona Golf Club in Orlando, Florida, and we have a beautiful day here for this, Dennis. So alignment. It should be easy, but because we're standing to the side, it's not always that easy, is it? When it's not like we have a rifle and we're sort of in line with the rifle and the target at the same time. Standing to the side at times makes it a lot more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely right. You don't get to have both eyes directly looking at the target. You've got your eyes parallel to the line. It makes it very difficult to line your body up. And you see most amateurs, they just step into the ball right from the side without having a clue where to start aiming, and then they start looking for the target once they're standing parallel to the target.
Yeah, exactly. They sort of plonk their feet down and then try to adjust and readjust themselves, and if they are lined up, they're extremely lucky. If you look at any golf tournament then, you watch the pros practicing, even warming up, you're going to find they're going to put down a club most of the time, maybe 1 or possibly 2 clubs, to make sure you are lined up, because that's essential. If you want to hit the ball to the target and not have any compensations in your swing, you want to get lined up squarely at the target. So, right, Dennis, here's a way to do it. I think the first thing is to get your target line sorted out. In other words, get the line from the ball through to the target absolutely correct, and then put your clubs down to parallel to those clubs. So the thing is, what I'd like to see is to take a club out, put the club down at the target like so. Okay, let's see here. It looks pretty much at that white flag there. That looks good. Right, now, using this as our base, to then put a couple of clubs parallel to that club. One on the inside, which is close to your feet. In other words, that gets your body lined up. And the other one, there we go, that gap looks pretty parallel here. All right, so the other one to the outside here, also parallel. Now we've got a situation where if we move the middle club out of the way, we've got this nice shoot to the target. So it's almost like a railroad track. And I think it gives us a really good image of sort of swinging and hitting down that chute, because the most important thing I'm sure you'll agree, is to make sure you get your club face aimed at the target and then get your body parallel to that club face, correct?
That's absolutely right. I think this is a great idea, getting the club right behind the ball and then making sure that's lined up at the target and then lining up the other 2 clubs to it. Often you go out on the practice, you see a guy's working on his alignment, and he's got his clubs aiming 30 yards left of where he wants to target, but he thinks they're aiming pretty straight because he hadn't had a real good system to get him set up. So that's a really, really good thing.
Well, it's very easy, very simple. All you've got to do is say, just take 1 club, line that up at the target, make sure that it is on the line, and then get your 2 clubs parallel to it, then move this one out of the way. Don't forget that, otherwise you might nail this one and have to have it reshafted. So the thing is, right, now you're lined up, and hopefully it should be easy to hit it towards the target. Let's give it a go.
At least we'll have a good start at it, David. You know, they say a good address is the foundation to a good golf swing, so get your alignment set up right. Well, it looks good.
Right on it.
It's a pity you can't do this out on the golf course.
I know, exactly. But the thing is, you know, if you do this often enough, and the thing is to make sure you change your target as well. Don't just aim at one particular point. Aim to the right, aim to the left. Some people feel more comfortable aiming in one direction rather than another. But if you do it often enough, when you get out on the golf course, you'll subliminally feel that you are aiming correctly at the target. So you have an awareness by doing it frequently like this. So when you get on the golf course, you have that same sensation of being squarely aimed. And that's what it's all about. So try this little drill. I'm sure you're going to find it's a big help. All right, Dennis, let's get into the next drill here, and obviously the start of the swing is so important. And I've got a little drill here which I really like. It's just a case of maybe going to a hardware store and getting a little board. I did an article on this in a magazine in Golf Digest a couple of weeks ago. And the fact is, I think if we use the board, you find that you really give a good sensation of how you start your swing. So let's have a go. We'll leave these clubs down. There's no reason we have to move those because it took us a few minutes to get them lined up anyway, so let's leave them there. Right. Dennis, so here we have a piece of 2x4, about 15 inches long, I guess, and what you're going to do is place it directly behind the ball. Just give yourself enough gap so you can fit the club head in between the ball and the piece of wood. Right, now, the whole idea, take your set up there if you would. And you can make a couple of practice swings doing it. What I want you to do is get the feeling as you start back that it's more of a dragging sensation. So you really should feel like almost the butt end starts to swing away. Okay, so obviously this board provides a little resistance, right? So let's do that again a couple of times. Make a full backswing here and tell me what you feel. There we go.
A little bit of work involved here, David.
Right. That's it. Again. Now, do it once more, and then I'll explain why I like this little exercise. Good. Now, the whole key here really is that you get a good start to your swing because many players, apart from having a poor address, I think most of the problems occur in the first 2 or 3 feet. And this occurs certainly when players snatch the club back or try to lift the club up. Basically, they take the club away with their hands and their arms. When you've got the board behind you, it forces everything to work together as a unit, and that's the whole key. If you get this triangle formed by your arms, shoulders, and chest, plus the club moving away together, well, then you've got a good start. It's a synchronized movement away. You hear things like one-piece takeaway and so on. Jack Nicklaus always used to refer to that. Now, that's basically what it means. You get everything to work away together. Now, the board helps to provide that. The other thing it does, too, it slows things down. Generally speaking, a lot of people snatch the club away from the ball, and it really gives one a sensation of the club and the body synchronizing together at a much better pace.
Yeah, doing it there, I get a really good sensation of my arms feeling a little closer and more tied up to my body or linked to my body as I go back, and actually feel the stomach muscles working just a little bit.
Right, okay. Well, let's, once you hit a shot here, I mean, don't worry, you're not going to hit the board because obviously you're going to push the board away, and it really is a great way to start the swing. All right. We'll give you one more shot there, Dennis. You're a tall player and you're not meant to hit him fat.
Well, it gives you a little bit of a different sensation.
No, don't make excuses now.
Yeah, but it's interesting. As you go back, you really feel this this sort of effort, and then as you get it halfway back in this really good position, it like releases and it
snaps up there. It's a sort of a slow wind up here, and it takes a little while just to get used to. I mean, it's a funny sensation when you first try it.
It's a pretty good feeling.
There we go. That's great. And I've seen people, it's amazing how I've seen people really change the look of their backswing. People who loop the club back or roll the club away. I mean, it's amazing. It just gets everything started away together. So this little board, it's very cheap and it costs you a few pennies from a lumber store. Get a short one and just put it in your bag and just push it away, because that's really how you start the swing. You push the board away, and as you swing down, you find that the club will almost approach the ball automatically. You don't have to make adjustments in your swing, because I always feel if you make a good backswing, the downswing most of the time takes care of itself. So good little exercise this.
Yeah, great drill. I like that one.
Right, so we'll be back in a few minutes and we're going to get cracking on the next drill.
Hi, I'm Jim Ferguson.
Right, we're back. Let's play ball. Okay, Dennis, now here's a little drill I think a lot of people will like, and I like it a lot because what it does, it gives one a great sensation of really winding up and using the legs as a power base in the swing. We see so many players when they swing that they either lock this leg, they move this knee too much, they sway, just have no support down below. So it's very important to get a good platform. So just by placing this between your knees, it gives you a sensation that really, as you swing back there, the gap between the knees really stays pretty much the same. Because it's a ball, you can squash the ball a little bit there, certainly, and they might narrow fractionally. But basically, if you look at a lot of the top players, you're going to find that the gap between the knees is very solid, because what this does is allows you to load up onto that right leg and have some resistance down here. So it really curtails the excess motion down below and allows you to wind up your top half, because this is really what creates a lot of power. It's a coiling motion, the top half against the lower half. So I know you've done this before, Dennis, so let's see how you do with it.
This goes a long way to helping you develop a really solid base and really giving you the awareness of how solid your legs should be, that connected to the ground feeling where you can generate all your power.
Right, okay, so just make a couple of backswings there and really just sense the torque and the wind up there. There you go, that's great. You can see there's pant legs here, they're creasing, so the tension is right on that right leg. Certainly the left knee is not moving in excess, and he's got a very solid lower base. It doesn't mean he's restricting his hip turn, but it does mean that, to say, his knee action is very limited. Okay, let's do that again. Good. Now this is something you can practice at home. You don't actually have to hit balls with it, because certainly as you come down, the ball should probably fall out, certainly, and then your knees should get together. So it's really more of the feeling to try to get your backswing correct, and that's the whole key, to get that wound up feeling, that loaded up feeling, as we term. So a couple more times, Dennis.
You can almost do it without a club and just
you certainly could.
do it in the room and just.
Right, you could do this in the privacy of your own home, so your friends don't laugh at you. All right, so now why don't you hit one there, Dennis, without the ball? All right, and see if you can get that same sensation. Just make one practice swing. That's it, good. Same sensation as if you had the ball there. And that's the whole key with these drills. When you hit balls, or even when you play, you want to have the same sensation as if, in this case, you had the ball between your knees. Well, that looked pretty similar to the drill.
David, there's nothing better than that really good, solid, grounded feeling when your legs are tight and you really rip it out the middle of the club. Makes you feel really good about what you're doing when you're practicing things like this.
Exactly, and say this is a very simple drill. Pick yourself up a ball. They're very inexpensive. You can practice at home, get that right sensation of winding up there, creating that coil, and you're probably going to find you're going to not only hit the ball more consistently, but a lot longer as well. Right, so let's get on to the next little drill, shall we?
I am ready.
Okay, now, I know most people probably have a dumbbell or something lying around the house, you know, and that doesn't mean your husband's there, ladies, okay? Right, this is about a 3 to 4 pound dumbbell. Now, the reason that we use this is because this really does give one a great sensation. The fact is, it enables you to create the right feeling, in this case with the right arm, because Dennis, I see so often with so many amateurs, especially slicers, who, when they get to the top there, the right shoulder works out and over. They really don't have an understanding of the track or the plane that the right shoulder works on. And it's very important to get this right shoulder in a position where it starts to work down on the inside, underneath, and then forward towards the target. So if you can actually track the movement of the right shoulder, it guides the path of the swing to a point where you really don't have to worry about swinging from out to in, because the club's coming from the inside, because it's following the way that the shoulder's actually moving. So I know you've done this before. Let's just do this with the right arm only. Just do it without the club, and then we'll do it with the club. So this is something that you can do. You want to support your arm. You can see Dennis is placing his left hand on his arm. Now just swing it back there, Dennis, and the key being, as you swing down, to actually push into the shoulder with that hand. Now this creates the feeling that the right shoulder is working down before it works around and forward. So as we see with many players, the right shoulder stays high and works out, forcing the right elbow and the right arm to come out. But this way, okay, let's do that again now. To the top there. Now push against it. Right, now you can see his shoulder's working down. Certainly his right arm will be coming in a position where it's going to allow the club to approach from the inside. Now, all the way through the target, the right shoulder now finishes there. All right, let's do that again. So it builds up strength in that right arm area as well. So very important to get this area built up in your swing. Good, I know you've had some problems in that area, haven't you, Dennis, of your anatomy? You've hurt your shoulder, and this really helps to build you up as well.
David, this drill has been just wonderful for me to, you know, I had some right shoulder problems where the shoulder didn't work properly, and this just helps so much to get back into golf shape, and can't say enough about doing this. And it's real simple. I mean, I do it at the end of my workout routine. Pick up a 5-pound dumbbell and just do 10 or 15 of these.
Right.
Get up here and just...
That's it. That looks great. Right, now do that with the club. And what you want to do, to start with, you want to actually grip the club a little further down, because until you build up some strength, that's exactly what you want to do. You don't want to hurt yourself, and if you hold it up here and you're not swinging correctly, you're going to be probably doing yourself a disservice. So just choke down. Let's see you do that there, Dennis. I'll take that. Right, same thing now. So as Dennis swings back there, you can see he's going to push into his right arm. So really feel like you're pushing into the right arm with the left hand. That just keeps everything approaching nicely on the inside and then through. So you see the right shoulder and right arm are staying very close to his body. So let's do that again. So especially those of you that slice the ball, this is really going to help. It's going to help all players in actual fact because it's very important to get that right shoulder and right side working correctly in the swing. That's great. Okay, right, let's put 2 hands on there. Just swing normally now with that same sensation, Dennis. Okay. That's it. There you go.
Good.
Oh, you've trained those muscles well. It's termed muscle memory. So, ready to hit a shot there doing the same thing? All right, feel that right shoulder movement now. All right, hit one more there. A lot of times when you've done a drill, maybe the first shot or so, it takes a little while just to get your rhythm. So, try to hit the first one nice and easy. There's a tip for you when you're doing these drills.
Yeah, you get working with the weight like that. It's a little heavier, but muscles pay attention, and you do develop a slightly new track, but the club feels a little light your first couple of swings when you come back to it.
Great. And you can see, I mean, that right shoulder tracked beautifully there. So remember, so if you've got that little weight, do it. Even with the golf club, you can choke down to start with, then once you get used to it, hold it up the end, and so just keep pushing your left hand on that right shoulder in order to get it down in position where you can then go ahead and release it. All right, so that should help the folks at home quite a bit, and I think we're just about ready to get on to the next drill here, which is, you know, we see Gary Player doing it quite a bit, and it's what we call the walk-through drill. Now, what I see with so many players is that when they hit the ball, they sort of hang back. They never really get the idea of their weight transfer. Certainly, at times, I think a lot of it's because they don't get their weight back to the right side to start with. But on the other hand, if you can just feel that you get behind the ball and then really feel like you're actually stepping into it. You know, it's a sensation almost like a baseballer stepping into the shot here to get the weight moving back to the left side. So a lot of times, I mean, I do this even with good players, never mind high handicap players, but to get the feeling that they make the swing, and then as they swing through, encouraging their right side to go, to release and chase all the way to the target, to actually step into it and walk after it, because we see so many players, literally, they could walk back the other way.
Yeah, and I think you even see good players that get so maybe perfection-oriented with their swing. Sometimes they get into just staying too centered and end up actually going in the opposite direction. So this is a great drill. I've done this, obviously, and
now, Gary Player sort of did this for the most part, I think, really to eliminate any problem of hooking. And remember, if you get, for good players, they get their right side moving and sort of chase after it. It keeps the hands nice and passive through the impact area. It keeps the right side, the right shoulder, working forward, because you see so many good players sort of hang back and the hands do that. And obviously, with the high handicap players, just simply getting a weight transfer is going to put more oomph into the shot, more speed, more club head speed, and therefore more distance. So once you have a practice swing, let's see how you do this. You might not want to do this if you've had a bad night the night before, because it takes a little bit of balance. That's it. Okay, let's do that again. Good. Once more.
I think the interesting thing about this drill is the fact that the momentum that you create swinging the club should be what starts to drag your leg, and then you just let it go. I mean, if you swing where you get your legs going out in front of you, you're going to have a hard time doing this. So
right, exactly. Okay, let's do that once more then. Just see how, watch his whole right side sort of really working towards the target. That's great. Okay, you want to hit a shot like that? Remember, it might take a little while just to get used to the feeling there. So who says your feet have to be still to play golf? So I know a lot of tennis pros say, hey, listen, when they're teaching their students, if you want to keep your feet still, go and play golf. Well, that's not true. You've got to have some motion here. You've got to get your weight moving. It's like anything. Baseball, if you're going to throw a ball, if you're going to serve in tennis, in actual fact, you've got to make sure that you're moving back to the right, through to the left. So this is not a sway, and as Dennis said, you don't move this way. It's a case really of making sure that certainly your legs don't get too far ahead, but you've got to time this. So as you're getting down into the impact area, you feel your whole right side, your right hip, your right knee, your right foot, really releasing so you can actually walk after it. And it's maybe a while before you get a good solid contact, but you'll be amazed how solid you'll start to hit the ball. So a great little drill this.
A fantastic drill, and everybody knows how to walk, I think. So, you know,
a lot of people playing carts, remember that.
You know, so maybe you get your focus away from trying to make all these perfect moves when you're hitting the ball, and you think about just walking at the right time. It's going to start developing a leg motion in the right sequence.
Exactly, yeah, get some movement down below there. All right, so we're going to be back in a few minutes then, finish off with one final drill, so see you then.
Hi, I'm
back. Dennis, I'm I'm sure you'll agree, the key ingredient to any good golf swing, and no matter what your mechanics are, is rhythm. And that's something that it's hard to teach sometimes, especially if you've been working hard on your swing.
Absolutely, David. I think Tony Jacklin, when he won his first US Open, his big key the last round was tempo. I think his good friend Tom Weiskopf told him, if you concentrate on your tempo, he left a little note, tempo, 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 that's it.
Right.
If you can get your tempo right, you can get away with some stuff.
Exactly. Now here's a little exercise that can help you with your tempo. Very easy. What you do is you take your grip and you want to get like the last finger and a half off the club. So certainly the little finger and half of the next finger, and you're holding the club right up at the end. Now, what this does, it releases any sort of tension that you might have, because, you know, tension is the killer of tempo and rhythm. So the fact is, if you can learn to grip it like this, you'll find that you can really sense the swinging of the club. Let me have a go here, Dennis. So just tee it out there and take about a 7-iron, because that's the easiest club to work with. And then just swing it back. You're almost going to feel like you're going to let go of the club. Swing it back and you can really sense how the club accelerates almost on its own. You don't have to try to force it, because you haven't really got any tension here. Centrifugal force now is going to allow you to hit the ball, and that's really, in effect, what we'd like to do, because you know yourself, when you're playing your best golf, the swing really feels easy. So, those finger and a half off the end, tee it up there, stay nice and relaxed. Certainly you will do with your left arm and left hand, certainly, and then off we go. Now, I really like this drill, because I tell you what, when you get those fingers off the end there, the club feels, you can sense the club anyway. You can feel the club swinging. You really allow centrifugal force to actually hit the ball for you. It's almost when you hit your best shots, it always feels easy, doesn't it? You don't feel like you're having to work so hard. So this is really what this drill does. The key then is to have the same sensation, the lightness in your arms, the feeling of the swing of the club when you actually grip it normally. So let's see if we can repeat the same sensation here. Then take your normal grip there, put your fingers down the shaft once again, and then just sense the swinging motion of the club. So it feels nice and relaxed, feel a nice smooth tempo here.
You know, tension, we talk about it, you're starting with tension. You can have tension in your backswing, you can have tension in your downswing, you can have tension through your impact, you can have tension in your finish. And one of the goals is to try to avoid that. The game is two-sided, it's right and left. You don't just play with your left arm, you don't just play with your right. It's very important that when we go ahead and take a golf club, I like to choke down on both clubs. I have an 8-iron right here, and I have a 6-iron, and I'm going to make swings. I'm going to let them both be basically the same length in my mind, and I'm going to let the club head swing. I'm going to start forward of the ball. I'm going to swing back, and I'm going to swing down. I'm going to swing back, and I'm going to swing down. No collisions of the club. If the right takes over the left, we don't want that, because chances are our impact's going to look this way. We don't want to go this way where the left overtakes the right. We don't want that impact. We want to develop a natural hinging and a natural unhinging that takes us back into impact. Every time I'm doing this, the club head is swinging back, the wrists are cocking. You can see this. They're both traveling pretty much together. This always in front of this one. We don't want to all of a sudden let this one pass this one. That's overtaking. So it's a great rhythm drill. It's also good for you to find out that, hey, when I go back to the top, my right arm is in a supportive position. You can see it with the position of my right arm. From this angle, it's an L-like position of the right arm, the shaft. I can almost hang my clothes on the shaft.
To improve your arm structure in your golf swing, take the towel and put it underneath your left arm like this. Hold the other end of the towel with your right hand, specifically with the heel of the right hand. Now, as you swing the towel back, try to push the heel of the right hand away as you turn your left shoulder back, and try to get your right arm into a 90-degree position here, from the shoulder to the elbow to the wrist. You can see that 90-degree angle. And you can see when I'm in that 90-degree angle how the towel is taut. If I overbend the right arm, the towel becomes loose. The other key position you want to look at is how far your elbows are apart. This being my left arm, you can see how my elbows are close together. If they start pulling apart, the towel becomes loose. Push them back close together, the towel is taut again. So the key things you want to remember to improve your backswing position are keep that right arm in that 90-degree angle with the heel of the hand pushing the towel away, and trying to get those elbows to stay close together. When you watch tour players on TV, you see a good turn with their shoulders, and you see the short, wide arm position. That creates a lot of power and a lot of speed, It'll help you hit the ball farther and more consistent.